Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nivedita Chakravarti. I'll be showing you a case of a 51 years old male patient who was operated for grade 4 GBM in April 2018. He received radiotherapy and chemotherapy. His last radiotherapy dose was in July 2018. The patient was clinically stable. An MRI brain was done as part of a routine follow-up. The images were compared with a prior MRI from September 2019. Let's have a look at the MR images. The T2 weighted images reveal new onset edema in centrum semiovale in the pericavitary region as shown by the red arrows. There is new onset T2 hyperintense nodule in the left inferior frontal lobe as shown by the red arrow. The FLAIR images also reveal increased edema compared to prior. There is new onset subtle subfalcine herniation due to mass effect as shown by the red arrow. There is new onset FLAIR hyperintense nodule in the left inferior frontal lobe as shown by the red arrow. The post-contrast scan shows new onset feather-like pattern of enhancement in the pericavitary region. This is more pronounced on this image. Now, the feather-like pattern of enhancement is very specific for radiation necrosis. But we also see a new onset enhancing nodule in the left inferior frontal lobe as shown by the red arrow. The spectroscopy was done and nodular enhancement in left frontal lobe showed a choline by creatinine ratio of 2.59 and the right lobe pericavitary enhancement showed a choline by creatinine ratio of 1.79. So what is our interpretation? Is it a case of a tumor recurrence or post-radiation injury or a mixture of both? This dilemma is solved by perfusion MRI as we know that tumor shows hyperperfusion. We performed dynamic susceptibility contrast perfusion MRI and obtained relative cerebral blood flow and cerebral blood volume values. An RCBF of 110% was seen within the enhancing nodule in the left frontal lobe and an RCBF of 115% was seen within the right lobe pericavitary enhancement. So these RCBF values indicate that these enhancing areas are more or less isoperfused. So we do not see significant hyperperfusion in these areas compared to the contralateral lobe as we would expect in a case of a tumor recurrence. But to be doubly sure, we placed an ROI adjacent to the enhancing region to ensure that there is no hyperperfusion, as we know that gliomas cause hyperperfusion even in the areas adjacent to the enhancement due to infiltration. So we saw an RCBF of 87% adjacent to the enhancing nodule in the left frontal lobe, which indicates hypoperfusion, and an RCBF of 85% adjacent to the enhancement in the right lobe pericavitary region, which also indicates hypoperfusion. So none of these areas show hyperperfusion, which suggests that these contrast enhancing changes are post-radiation effects. So our final diagnosis is radiation necrosis. Now MR perfusion is the most important sequence to differentiate radiation necrosis from tumor recurrence, and spectroscopy findings can vary. Few words about post-radiation injury. Now post-radiation effects could be acute, occurring during radiotherapy to within 2 months, subacute from 2 to 6 months, or late, occurring beyond 6 months. Now radiation necrosis can occur from few months to many years after radiotherapy, so there is no definite time frame. On imaging, they give an appearance of pseudo-progression in the form of increased edema, mass effect, increased size of the contrast enhancement, and elevated choline peaks can also occur. Now, like BI-RADS for breast imaging, we have BT-RADS, which stands for Brain Tumor Reporting and Data System for brain tumor imaging. But unlike BI-RADS, a BT-RADS score is given only after comparison with the prior scan. So a BT-RADS score indicates that it cannot be scored. A score of 0 indicates that it cannot be scored because either it is a first post-operative scan, so obviously there is no prior imaging available for comparison, or it is an incomplete study. A BT-RADS score of 1 indicates improvement in the imaging findings compared to prior. It is further subclassified into 1A and 1B. A score of 1A indicates that the improvement in imaging findings is due to decrease in the tumor burden or due to chemotherapy effects. A score of 1B indicates that improvement in imaging findings is due to medication effects such as use of steroids or Avastin. I'll explain the role of steroids and Avastin a little later. A BT-RADS score of 2 indicates that there is no change compared to the prior. A BT-RADS score of 3 indicates worsening imaging findings. It is further subclassified into 3A, 3B and 3C. A BT-RADS score of 3A indicates that worsening imaging findings are due to post-radiation injury, as we have seen in our case. So our case gets a BT-RADS score of 3A. A BT-RADS score of 3B indicates worsening imaging findings due to mixture of radiation effects as well as tumor. A BT-RADS score of 3C indicates worsening imaging findings due to increasing tumor burden. And a BT-RADS score of 4 is highly suspicious for tumor progression. So the recommended management as per BT-RADS score is a BT-RADS score of 0 to 2 we can continue with follow-up. There is no change in the line of management. A BT-RAD score of 3A and 3B requires decreased time interval of follow-up. A BT-RAD score of 3C requires either a change in management or a decreased time interval of follow-up as decided by the neuro-oncologist. And a BT-RAD score of 4 definitely requires a change in management. Now, I would briefly like to mention the role of corticosteroids and Avastin as they have impact on imaging appearances. Corticosteroids basically reduce the tumor associated edema. They reduce side effects and risk associated with radiotherapy. So, on imaging, we see reduced edema, mass effect, and enhancement. So, which puts our BT-RAD score to 1B as we have seen before. But we know that long-term use of steroid has significant side effects. To combat these side effects of steroids, Avastin comes into picture. Now, Avastin has an anti-angiogenic effect and it blocks the vascular endothelial growth factor which is overproduced in tumor cells, and thus it prevents increased development of blood vessels that feed the tumor. So, on imaging again we see decreased contrast enhancement, which again puts our BT-RAD score to 1B as we have seen previously. Now, Avastin has got a significant steroid sparing effect, that is, it allows reduction in the overall steroid use. But remember that Avastin is not a chemotherapeutic agent. Now you must be wondering that why am I putting so much emphasis on the treatment? Remember that we as radiologists need to think beyond diagnosis. We need to know what impact our diagnosis will have on the management and prognosis of the patient. So what are our take-home messages? We should take detailed treatment history. MR perfusion must be part of the protocol for the follow-up of brain tumor patients, and it is the most important sequence to differentiate radiation necrosis from recurrence, and we should always compare with the prior imaging. We should explicitly mention in the report whether there is tumor regression, reduction due to treatment effects, pseudo-progression due to radiation, or frank tumor progression so that neuro-oncologists can take decisions accordingly. Thank you.